Greetings, beautiful women. Happy Friday. In keeping with simplicity in 2023, this week's theme is about forgiveness. We have all heard about the importance of forgiveness and the role it plays in our healing, spiritual development, and growth. This is a topic you will encounter in every spiritual practice or avenue you embark on. What is forgiveness? Forgiveness is a change in feelings or attitude about an offense committed by another person. When we feel wronged by another, we tend to hold the pain, disappointment, or woundedness in our bodies, hearts, and minds for a long, long time. We even often cycle through this pain, talking about it often, remembering it, or reliving the pain, sometimes for years and years. And it is true. You will encounter people, including your family members, who would not honor you or hold loving thoughts about you. It is difficult to express love to those who do not love you. But irrespective of that, staying in the vibration of love is essential to your own inner peace. Forgiveness transforms your world and life. One of the most powerful prayers in the world is the Lord's Prayer, and we recite every day if you're religious, and we say, "Forgive our debts as we forgive our debtors." Yet, some of us may not have understood how to practice forgiveness. In Prayers of the Cosmos, Neil Douglas Clark says this: "Loose the cords of mistakes binding us as we release the strands we hold of others' guilt. Forgive our hidden past, the secret shames, as we consistently forgive what others hide. Lighten our load of secret debts as we relieve others of their need to repay. Erase the inner marks our failures make, just as we scrub our hearts of others' faults. Absorb our frustrated hopes and dreams as we embrace those of others with emptiness. Untangle the knots within so that we can mend our hearts' simple ties to others. Compost our inner stolen fruit as we forgive others the spoils of their trespassing. Loose the cords of mistakes binding us as we release the strands we hold of others' guilt. This works only when we recognize that we have to forgive ourselves for all we've been. We are fallible, and there are conscious and unconscious, intentional and unintentional mistakes we've made. Sometimes we see the hurt we may have caused, and other times we are oblivious of them. Irrespective of whether we agree we may have caused someone harm or not, it does not take much to apologize and move on from the situation. Practicing unconditional forgiveness releases us from stress, unnecessary pain, and anguish. And when we hold a grudge, or worse, planning a revenge, you will find yourself stuck in a tug of war that is not winnable. We may think that we may be coming up ahead in the short term, but long term, the damage and burden is equally shared. We become bogged down or dragged down. One of my favorite teachers, Thich Nhat Hanh, says this about forgiveness: all of us are unskillful at times. At these times, we suffer and we make other people suffer, unquote. In order to forgive, you have to see the unskillfulness and suffering of the other person. Release this difficult situation before you get sucked in again and again. As you know, misery loves company, and don't make yourself available for it. Forgiveness brings inner peace and inner joy. It eliminates fights between friends, families, and even countries. Forgiveness is the tool that allows the freedom to move from our past to the present moment with a hopeful heart for the future. To move to this state, we must offer love to the other until the energy shifts between the two of you. Your ultimate goal in this practice is to uplift your own spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical well-being. Now, what is your framework to practicing unconditional love? Does turning the other cheek work for you? Does the concept of karma generate compassion within you? Does staying angry give you power over? Remember, this is a journey that is your own, and how you release anger and pain will be a process. It does not mean you forget what you experienced. It does not mean you condone the acts or actions of the other person. And it does not mean weakness on your part. In fact, it takes a lot of strength and willpower to overcome some of the obstacles we may have faced. Ultimately, the act of loving self is the objective here. You want to live with inner clarity and joy. When you visit the Forgiveness Project, you find stories that are similar to some things we ourselves may have experienced. It is worth knowing that we are not alone on our journeys. Others may have experienced the same thing as you. Find a women's group where you'd have the opportunity to find support and healing. We are not meant to overcome our challenges alone. Find a trusted friend, therapist, or a spiritual counselor who can help you deal adequately with your situation. It is imperative that you find a mechanism or channel to release old hurts. I've done this work intensely, and I highlight some in my autobiography, Sankofa Learning from Hindsight. In my own life, I have been blamed for things that were never part of who I am or would ever be. And while I may be dumbfounded by the situation, there is only one thing I can do to free myself from all of it. I have a plan, yes, but I intend for whatever steps I take moving forward to come from a place of love, to be loving and understanding. The act of forgiveness relinquishes the holds others have on us, either energetically and in our physical space. It is never about having power over someone. In closing this conversation, I will say this. We have all had our fair share of pain or disappointment, of how others acted that caused us so much pain. If you remember that part of those actions come from their own suffering, it may create a framework to forgive. I have artwork in my office that has the inscription, "Look beyond yourself," on it. Your experiences are part of your own personal story. As unpleasant as they may seem, you alone have the power to transform that experience into a healing story. Remember that all the stuff of life is part of the sacred, and a new perspective is warranted to create a new loving experience for self first, then all others. I appreciate you joining me and sharing these topics with others. We are powerful and stronger together. Continue healing and sharing your healing stories with others so they may find a path of love, peace, and harmony as well. This is what we are about. Be a woman of power and grace. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And see you in a couple of weeks.